small and tiny and so precise. And the paper is scented. This is great. It makes me feel like a heroine from a Jane Austen novel. Mr. Darcy loves me. But I had this one girl write me after Black Butler came out, and I just think of this now because of Just Sebastian, and it was after apparently The Dove came out and ruined her life. Oh, ruined her life. We all know that can happen, right? Your favorite show gets badly dubbed and suddenly there's no meaning at all, nothing, everything. You just can't get out of bed anymore. Wimps. But, I'm kidding. But she really hated The Dove. So it became the first time I'd ever gotten a flat-out death threat from a fan. And I mean, she went into great detail about how she would like to kill me. I mean, really, it was actually a rather good piece of writing. Just objectively, I'm like, this creates such horrifying imagery. Oh, she's talking about me. Holy crap. But I mean, she was clearly very young. And this was not a letter sent in the mail, I should say. This was, because I'd been like, oh, there's white powder in here. Oh God, anthrax. Whatever. It was an email I got through like Facebook or something. And so I decided, I'm like, oh, I should write her back, because if she's writing something like this to everybody, she's gonna get in trouble. That was my first thought. I'm like, not that a 14-year-old girl wants to murder me. I mean, that's just part of being alive. But I mean, I was like, I felt bad for her, so I wrote her back and saying, I'm sorry you don't like The Dove, but please don't send letters like this to voice actors, because you could get into some serious trouble. And that small, tiny gesture of me kind of saying, I didn't even say, please don't kill me, by the way. I just I'm not trying to talk you out of your standpoint, at all, but just, I'm telling you shouldn't do this. And so she wrote me back, she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't think you'd actually read it, and blah, 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 blah. And then she suddenly was like, oh my God, actually, I love you, and I love everything about you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, my sister was really surprised she's like, I'm really surprised you answered, because my sister tells me you rich people have, people to do this for you, and I'm like, rich people. But then she started flooding me with stuff she wanted to then I should never have written her back. That would be a lesson to all of you. If a psycho contacts you on Facebook, don't engage. It is a zero-sum game, believe me. When she started sending me, and in her mind she thought, I'm gonna send Tatum a petition to stop Funimation from completing season 2. I'm like, oh, sure, I'll sign it. What's the cost? Yeah. So I'm like, okay, no, crazy birthday. So yeah, death threat. That letter is now printed out in a frame above my desk. You know you're something if somebody hates you enough to want to kill you that you've never met. I'm like, oh my God, because it's like, people are gonna hate you no matter what you do, and I feel like, I've got the ratio pretty good. I have 100 people that love me versus one that wants to kill me. That's a good ratio. I don't want the flip side of that. I have one friend and 100 people outside my window with torches. I see a box. I could have said that better. Go on.
Actually, I have a question and a compliment.
Oh.
Script writing, I really like how, each character, you're able to word it to where it really shows their own personality through the words that you choose. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
And then I also was curious, how did you get into script writing? Was it something that you were perked in interest with, or was it something Funimation did, with your voice acting, here, you're doing this?
Well, first of all, thank you for bringing up the writing, because it doesn't get, the adaptive process doesn't get talked about a lot, because, and that's as it should be, I think. If a writer has done his or her job, they should be invisible. But I really, really enjoy adaptive writing, and some of you might be surprised to learn that some of your favorite anime was probably lead adapted by myself. I've done tons of shows. And I started it roughly about the same time. I had been voice acting for 2 years as a side job. This is when I still had my other career going, but I was like a voice actor for Funimation on the side because they seemed to like me and it was fun. And then suddenly they were like, what would you like to direct? Because I happened to be in a show at the time, this was 2007, thereabouts, 2006, 2007, I happened to be in a show where I was playing the bad guy. It was a very complicated ensemble piece, right? So the only one character that knew the whole story was the villain, because they were kind of the chief architect of the plot. So it just so happened the show's director had to go and follow his star to New York for a theater gig, which you do not pass up if you're given the shot. And so the show's producer came to me and said, hey, you know, I think you might make a good director, and you're actually playing the character, kind of knows everything about the show and all the other characters anyway. So what do you think? Director's chair? And I'm like, yes! Which was terrifying to do because I just suddenly realized I just turned my back on my 10-year-long career in advertising because I had to do this full time. Which in the end was a great choice, but at the time it was very terrifying. So I got the writing gig because one of the main characters in the show I was directing, was a show called Aquarion, was Eric Vale, who was one of the head writers for Funimation. And he just liked some of my work as a director and thought, do you want to write? So it's weird, because writing is the hardest thing to get into for this adaptive writing, for this kind of process, because whereas for voice acting, a studio like Funimation will often has like open auditions every few years or every few months, or I forget what the schedule is like now. But where it's, you've got a shot to go in, maybe not. But writers don't get auditioned. You have to have experience in the booth. Or John Bergmeyer, the head Funimation writer, the head writer for Funimation, all of it, won't consider you unless you've been in the booth before, because you need booth experience in order to write this type of adaptation. Because if a script does not work, nothing wastes more time, everybody's time. You've got an actor that you have to pay in the booth, you've got a director, you've got an engineer, you've got all these people, all these concerns. If that script needs to be rewritten, you've lost hours and hours of man hours and money that still had to be paid to all these people. So, so normally, my job as an adaptive writer is to take my experience as an actor in the booth and as a director and bring it to bear on the adaptive process to make sure that these scripts make the engineer or make the recording process as smooth as humanly possible. And I think getting to do that has helped me as an actor too, because getting to be on that side of the adaptive process has given me insight into what makes a line work and what doesn't. What makes a line weird and stilted. Adaptation is really, really fun because the whole reason I love acting is because it's about, for me at least, getting to explore other characters, other minds, not your own. And often in the long run, finding just how closely related you were from the get-go. And my writing is an extension of that because as an adaptive writer, I don't have to worry about who lives or dies, I don't have to worry about who gets the girl, the guy, the plot. The scaffolding, all that is in place. My job is to give the characters independent and distinct voices. And so I get to focus on their relationship to language, their relationship to their own sense of self-expression, and that's enormous fun. So I think it's a distinctly dramatic kind of writing, and that I say it's easier to do because I have experience acting. And of course, all the technical constraints that come with pre-existing flaps is what we call the mouth movements. Working with those as an actor gives me, it's fun too. You should see me writing a script because it's like J. Michael Tatum theater when he's playing all the characters he's just written. Because I have to make sure they work in real time, that an actor can say these lines without passing out, and that they still match the animation. So I get to act all the time, both at home when I'm writing and then in the booth. Now, there's nothing more distressing, as has happened often, and I believe you came to my autograph line early, did you not? You had the Steins Gate thing, right? And I talked briefly about how Steins Gate was hell on earth. Though I loved it, and it's one of the proudest things I've ever gotten to work on. It was hell on earth. How many people are Steins Gate fans? Oh my God, yes. You are now friends. Steins Gate was a weird, crazy show. I jumped at the chance to write it because I thought it was awesome. And it was going to be my chance to kind of flex my literary muscle, because Okabe was a big, over-the-top, outrageous character who could use huge words and could quote Dante and Shakespeare and Science Monthly, all of it, and still get away with it. It's totally fit his character, so I was like, I'm going to love this. And I got to work with Patrick Seitz as an adaptive writer. Most of you probably know Patrick Seitz as Germany from Italia. He's also an amazing adaptive writer. I love working with him, and the two of us were such huge fanboys for Steins Gate. We would call each other up, because he lives in LA and I live here in Dallas. And he'd be like, oh my God, there's one episode, oh my God, I know. I'm like, oh no, what? Ah! So, it was insane. And we'd get into it, and the show itself, the original, is absolutely perfect. I would change nothing about it. So that the trick became, how do we stay loyal to the source material by also making sure all the jokes hit, and then making sure all the dramatic parts hit. It was really challenging. It was so much more challenging when I learned I'd be playing the main character. Because this is me writing at home in front of us going, oh my God, I do not envy the actor that has to say this line. Shit, it's me. So, and when we recorded Steins Gate, there was something like 6-7 months of me. There was overlap between the writing and the recording process. So for 6 months, my life was 8 hours in the booth, because Okabe never shuts up. Part I was born to play, as it turns out. And then I would come home, grab a quick bite to eat, and then work for 5 or 6 hours on a script. And then go to sleep, and get up and repeat the whole cycle. So for the better part of a year, I could not get away from that show or that character. And that character is ridiculously consuming, like he's difficult. Because he's always at 10. Everything he does is huge and over the top, because for those of you that aren't familiar with the show, it is about time travel. Specifically about the psychological side effects of time travel. And it follows the exploits of this rather nerdy, hilariously real character who kind of likes to put on airs as a mad scientist, that he's really just your normal everyday geek that we all know and love. Many of us are such people, I certainly am. But he likes to pretend to be this, that, and the other. He's like, oh yes, I'm a mad scientist and I'm fighting for world domination, but it's really because his life is kind of sad and going nowhere, and so it's all a coping mechanism in order to enable him to deal with a world that he can't quite get his head around. Well, when they find out how to send text messages back in time, things start getting real, because it starts changing the present in ways, and then slowly what starts funny and strange becomes very, very devastating as things start changing that have serious consequences. There is a scene, I'll tell the story very quickly. Tatum telling the story quickly? No. There's a scene, and you, and those of you that have watched Steins Gate know what I'm talking about. There's a scene in which, let us say, episode 13, and I'm not going to give anything away, but suddenly, Okabe, who up until now has been a very funny character, and we all have friends like this, so they're people we just keep around because they're hilarious fun to watch wear themselves out, right? That's who he is. But around the midway mark of this show, things take a devastating turn for the tragic, and he is now suddenly in this scene. None of his old tricks work. The usual coping mechanism of being big and over the top and dramatic and funny is not working. So he becomes a very real, vulnerable human being who is crying and pleading at peril to his own life to try to save the life of a friend who he knows something terrible is about to happen to him. And that's all I'll say about the plot. But it's a desperate scene. When I was writing the adaptation, I was crying because the original save was so good. And you have to understand, this is a character who up until now has been like, I am a great mad scientist, and ha, laughs and does just crazy non sequitur things. But now he is just crying, saying, please don't do this. I'm nothing, I'm shit, just don't do what you're about to do. And he's crying and he's screaming, and it just gets worse and worse as exactly what he fears is going to happen. It plays out right in front of him, and there is nothing he can do about it. And it's devastating. And like I said, watching that scene when I had to write it, I was like, oh my god, drink. Swap. Then about 2 months later, that scene actually hit in the booth. And I was dreading it because I knew what was coming. I knew this scene. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I have the acting chops to do this. This is such a real moment. And I'm not used to playing characters that are that vulnerable. That I usually play the stoic characters, the crazy characters, but the ones that are a mix and also very real at the same time. Those are challenging. Those are the ones that really, really make you stretch. And I had this moment, even just talking about it, I get kind of emotional. Excuse me if I jump around and keep going. I know, he's weird, Michael, what the hell's wrong with you? But Okabe is in this scene, and I'm trying to record this moment, and I just lose it, and I start crying, and I start having a kind of a mental breakdown, and I start saying the lines that I've written, and it becomes all too real for me in that moment. Like, suddenly that line between myself and Okabe, that's the character's name, just thin to begin with, but now it's completely obliterated, and I'm just a mess in the booth, crying, pleading for my dear friend's life, and knowing that everything's bad's about to come down, and there's nothing I can do about it, And I just crumbled, and Colleen Klinkenbeard comes in, and she's like, honey, you're on the floor. I know, I'm sorry. It was ridiculous. I was just a blubbering mess, a shell of a human being, and she's like, okay, honey, step out of the booth and get some water, maybe splash some of it on your face, walk around the studio for a few minutes, and come back, okay? I'm like, okay. I'm serious, he was like, you want some McDonald's? You want to get some ice cream? On Sunday? So I go and I walk around the booth, splash some water in my face, which, my God, I could do right now. It's so hot in here. And get back in the booth, ready to do this again, because I'm sure, like, yeah, I just did the middle. And Colin's like, oh, no, sweetie, it's okay. You don't have to do the scene again. Everything you did actually just worked. So, moral of the story, sometimes being psychotic is the best way to be an actor. If you want to hear J. Michael Tatum have an all-out, honest-to-God, nervous breakdown, please treat yourself to Steins and watch episode 13. Thank you for bringing up the writing, my dear. That's really, really awesome of you. I appreciate that you appreciate it. Let's see. I've called you before, so I'll come back to you in a little while, sweetheart. I might get someone. You, I have not picked on yet.
Going back to the writing process, who translates the Japanese to English before you get there?
We have a team of translators, and I've never actually met any of them. They work off-site, and they often have degrees in Japanese, not just the language, but in culture. Because when I get a translated script, which is what I work from to do the adaptive process, there's all kinds of great, gorgeous little notes in the margin about, well, the iteration of this line comes from the etymology of this word and this history. I'm like, oh, I love this. I did a show once called Shangri-La, which had a lot of science references in it. And it just so happened that the translator was also really into science, and so they were playing like, actually, this is actually possible to make a bomb using this material. And I'm like, I love you. So I'm like, sending that person a bottle of wine, a bouquet of roses with the shows. So yes, there are teams. I don't speak Japanese. I speak enough to ask what a bathroom is, and to say, where's my name? My boyfriend is fluent in Japanese, so whenever I'm having problems and I don't know the translator necessarily was right, I'm like, does this mean this? He's like, yep, damn it. So yeah, let's see, someone on this side. Who with the ears, the fox ears, or the...
Have you ever had problems with stalkers?
Why? Just the way you said it. Have you ever had problems with stalkers? Not that I'm aware of. Well, keep an eye out for you. Not for you. I mean, that's not what I mean. She's like, no, I'm sure I've had some stalkers, but it's mostly people that just want to come up and say hi to you, but I've not had anybody. Brina broke into my house once. Brina Valencia broke into my house one time and made me think that I had a stalker. I was a little depressed when I learned it was just Brina. I'm like, yes! Oh my God, I've had a stalker! I have arrived! I was thinking, like, oh. So that was terrifying. She broke into my house about 5 years ago and rearranged my furniture. Try having that conversation with the cops too, because the cops don't know who you are. I try to be like, you don't understand, I'm kind of a big deal. Like, what do you do? I'm in anime. What's that? Damn it! Well, look, why do you want to press charges? They actually, did some nice stuff. I know, and I'm probably going to keep the couch where it is, but that's not the point. Weird conversation. Cops like, you are crazy. You, madam there, think the road with the glasses.
As playing Kyoya, what was your thoughts on Renge?
Speaking of stalkers, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of relate to Renge a lot because I think Kyoya is all amazing and hot, and I would totally do the same. If I were a woman, I'd be like, and I would totally come out of the floor, there's a little elevator thing, the hydraulic lift, and with the weird monkey, just out of nowhere, there's a monkey, slits on the banana peel, fine. I get it. Renge, played by the wonderful and talented Monica Rial, who is not only a dear friend of mine, but also that particular show's lead writer. I entered in, my first writing gig, actually, ever for Funimation, was for that show. I came in the back half of that show and worked with Monica on those scripts. Thank you. Yes, you're done.
Which of your characters do you think would make the cutest baby?
The cutest baby. Babies all kind of look the same to me. Be honest, they all do, unless it's your kid. You're like, no, it looks exactly like his father or me or his grandfather, whatever. I'm like, to me, they all look like Winston Churchill. Who's an adorable little French bulldog? Ooh. I don't know. I want to see France as a baby. Everyone's like, oh. I find that funny. Like, oh, France is a baby. Oh. I'm pretty sure he'd be a weird kid. France as a baby is preferable to France as like a, teenager. Oh, can you imagine France as a teenager? No. Oh my Go on, right? You.
If Celia and Sebastian had to switch roles, like as you know, he had to be the butler for. How do you think they would handle